Banggood sent me over a few tools to review because it's the Black Friday sales coming up. I've got 3 tools to review today. We've got the Hongdui MFT Stop, we've got the Hongdui guide rail flip clamps, and these are the collaborations with Hooked on Wood channel. And then we've also got the Enjoy Wood. This is the portable drill press. Let's review the MFT Stop, and this is actually something that I was going to build myself because it is something that I needed ever since I set up my MFT table in my workshop. Let me get the table set up and I'll show you why you need a stop like this. So as you can see, I have the bench dogs. This is the quad hinge system. I've also got their fence as well, and overall I really do like it. The problem is that the stop really only goes up to about 25 centimeters. If you want to make a cut shorter than that, you don't have any way to position the stop because obviously the rail needs to come down. So without having some sort of stop on the other end, what you'd typically have to do, say I want to cut 10 centimeters from this, I would position this at 10 centimeters, I'd lower down, I would take the cut, and then I would lift it up again, and then I would position it back to 10 centimeters and keep on going like that. So it's a little bit annoying, and also I don't really like it because I don't have a hold on the stock. I'm using my right hand to move the saw across the guide rail. Typically I'd have my left hand on the stock. So this is why you need something like a stop to go on the other side of your fence. Now the Hongdui MFT Stop, you can see it's got these 2 clamping dogs. Now what I really like about these is that these do have the Hooked on Wood. These are the compression dogs. So these are really good because as you tighten this down, it pulls this up, which squeezes these O-rings, which then expand and they squish into the holes on your table. This clamps it in place really well, but it also helps to keep the position of the dogs as well, so you get really good accuracy. So getting this set up is really easy. You just obviously drop it into your holes, and then you just twist this around and you lock it in place, and it's not going anywhere. It's really nice and stable. So now with the MFT Stop installed, you can obviously loosen these clamping points, and then you can obviously set it up so that then you've got the stop set. So when you're taking a 10 centimeter cut, for instance, so you'd position it here, you'd lock this in place, and now I can obviously lower the rail, I can take my cut, and then obviously I've got a nice positive stop to push the stock up against, and I can keep hold of it on the left side here and continue taking my cuts. So this is super handy, and also there's nothing stopping me with obviously positioning this much closer. I mean, I can get this stop even in its current position. I mean, I can move this right up to the edge here. And I mean, I could take millimeters slices from a bit of wood with this setup, with this stop. Having 2 clamping points as well, once this is locked in place, it makes it very, very sturdy. And I mean, you're not going to be losing position when you are hitting bits of wood against this because you've got 2 clamping points. So it's a very simple design. I really like it, and it is definitely something I've long needed with my MFT table. And I think anyone's going to appreciate this who has an MFT table. Next, we'll review the flip guide rail clamps. Now, as you can see, I've got the bench dog hinge system, and I use the width of my table to make my cuts. I like the hinge system, but it's not super easy to adapt to different sizes of wood. If I obviously wanted to make a cut utilizing the length of my table, you know, I'd have to move this hinge system to the ends of this table. It's a little bit of a faff because obviously you've got to machine pockets to fit the 2 systems. These flip up clamps are really, really adaptable. As long as you've got a grid of holes in your table, you can put these anywhere and you can position your rail however you want and have it flip up. Now, if I discovered these before I bought my bench dog hinge system, I think I probably would have rather have just bought these and saved myself quite a lot of money. I do like the hinge system, but I think for a table this size, which is quite small, and I'm in a quite small workshop, having more adaptability to be able to utilize the full size of the table would probably be better. Another benefit to the flip clamps is that they don't take up as much space as something like the hinge system. As you can see with the hinge system, it hangs off the edge of the table quite a lot, and the same for the receiving end of the system as well. You can see it does extend from the table quite a bit. Another thing that I like with the flip clamps is that the guide rail flips sideways. With the hinge system, this flips up and down, and you can see that obviously when I've got it in the up position, it does kind of block the tools that I've got on the back here. And because my rail is actually longer than my table, I don't have it laying down because it will stick out from the end of the table. So I do have it up here quite a lot of the time. Now with the flip clamps, obviously you do still need a guide rail to be the size of your table, but it just flips up. It does not go all the way up like this. So I really like these flip clamps. I'm using my own extended dogs here, but I would definitely recommend getting hold of the Hooked on Wood compression dogs that you store in the MFT Stop here. The reason being is that obviously accuracy is really important when you're taking cuts with the guide rail. And I did find that some of the holes in my table, there was a little bit more slack in them than others. And with a bench dog like this, that doesn't have any sort of compression to actually lock into the holes, you can see the amount of slack that I've got in one of those holes that's probably been used a little bit more than the other one. So in the package, you do just get the 2 flip clamps. You don't actually get any of the dogs. So make sure if you are ordering these, definitely make sure you've got compression dogs already. But if you don't have your own compression dogs, then make sure you add those to your order if you are going to be using these. To set the height, you can obviously just get a bit of your stock. You can just lift this up, place your stock underneath, and then you tighten the thumb screws here, which will then clamp around your bench dog. And just like that, I'm now able to use the full length of my workbench, and this can just flip up nicely. It doesn't flip up vertically along the walls. It does save a lot of space. I like the design of these clamps. I can't detect any sort of play in the actual hinge mechanism, which is really going to be the main point of any sort of loss in accuracy. So you can see the little ball bearing here. You can adjust the grub screw so that will allow the ball detent here just to make that contact. You can see on the edge of that guide rail channel there. And that will just push it against the back of the guide rail. So it's always going to be in the same position. That is a really nice feature. I think it's the first time that I've seen it on these type of clamping bars from these Chinese woodworking tools. Another nice feature about these clamps is that they are adjustable and they will accommodate various different size dogs, because not everyone has the, I think it's the standard 20 millimeters. Some people have a little bit over, some people have 19 millimeter dogs as well. These will accommodate various different sizes. Another thing as well is you do have an adjustable depth stop here. So you can set the depth of these clamps. And again, it's a very nice design. You can see that it's actually an internal screw into another screw as well here. Definitely some impressive machining that's gone into this part. You can definitely see that it's got Dennis's brains from Hooked on Wood collaborated with this product. This is really nice. Next up is the Enjoy Wood portable drill guide. This comes pretty much mostly assembled. All you need to do is add the drill chuck onto it, and I have just lubricated the rails and also added the distance stops as well. Now this is definitely something that you won't be using every single day if you have a drill press or if you have hand drills, but when you need to make an accurate hole on something that you can't take over to the drill press, these are very, very handy. It's quite a simple construction. You have the 2 main shafts and you've got the springs so you can push the drill press up and down. The handles act as tightening knobs and you can loosen them, and then you've got positive stops for each of the various different angles. Now the run out on this chuck isn't amazing. I mean, it's probably a $5 Chinese chuck, so I wasn't really expecting much, to be honest with you. I'm getting about 0.3 millimeters run out. That's obviously pretty terrible when you compare it to something like a drill press, but comparing it to handheld, I'm not really sure what my run out would be if I was just hand drilling a hole. Now I do actually feel the drill moving backwards and forwards as well when I am spinning this, so I think it could be maybe the shaft that is slightly bent. I'm not too sure if it's the drill chuck or maybe the bearings, but if I run this drill, you can see it moving backwards and forwards very slightly. Now the only thing I've done to this is I've just added a little bit of grease to the shaft just to give it a little bit more ease when it's moving up and down. It does get stuck a little bit. You don't want to put too much grease in this because obviously when you're drilling wood, this is going to get covered in wood dust, which is going to get gunky, and it is obviously going to gunk up these shafts here. Probably best is to maybe use, I'd probably guess like a graphite or something like that. Maybe a dry lubricant that the wood dust is obviously not going to stick to. But yeah, I just put a little bit of grease in it and it definitely improves the movement of this. You've also got a depth collar here so you can push this down. You obviously need to resist the force of the spring, and then you can move the drill up and down, and obviously you've got the reference point here, which is nice. The only annoying thing that I discovered with this is that this drill chuck actually doesn't take your standard impact socket holes. It is a little bit too big for this. I was hoping I'd be able to just attach it on and off quite easily, but instead I have to use my my drill here, which I can clamp around the hex bar at the top here. I was drilling a few holes with this and it works nicely. The only thing I did come across was that the drill was actually sticking a little bit, but it's more to do with the position that you apply the force through the drill into this chuck here. As long as you apply the force directly in line with the chuck, you don't have any issues with it sticking. If you do hold onto the handle of your drill and push it down, it will just get stuck. So it does mean that you do need to use 2 hands on the drill, one to pull the trigger and then one placing your hand on top of the drill directly in line with the chuck when you push it down. Apart from that, it's a really nice bit of kit, and it's definitely going to be a lifesaver when I can't take my part over to the drill press. So really nice additions to my toolkit. I can honestly recommend all of them. This is my first time reviewing the Hongdui and Hooked on Wood collaboration items, but they seem really, really good in terms of the quality. These Chinese woodworking tools have always impressed me for the quality that you get for the price point, especially compared to what you get over here in the Western market. Any questions, put it in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and that is it for today. I will catch you all later.